Oh, it's taking it. That's good. Right. 1968 Chevelle. This thing has got kind of a long history of it. It has been in storage since 2015, not too bad, about 7 years. And it was stored in this nice storage shed here in eastern Idaho. And what they did last fall is some new owners came in, bought the place, and they waited till the snow and the ice came in, give you 11-day notice, and then tripled the rates. So, and they had you. So today is 1 day to the 6-month contract I had to sign. So I decided to come down, get it out, and drive it home. So let's do a walk around. Now I have owned this car for a very long time. I actually bought this when I was 17. And obviously I have not done body work and paint. It's not an SS car or anything. It is a V8 car. I bought this out of a backyard of a guy who was going into the Navy back in 1989, and I paid $400 for it. It had a blown 307, a power glide, no glass, and a whole bunch of parts that came with it that were also pretty rusty. And I just kind of put it together over the years and mostly just stored it and hardly drove it. Got these tires are completely shot. I got some other rims and tires I'm going to put on it. On the inside, I did do a little bit of work. As you can see, not much. These seats are out of a Hyundai Tiburon because I wanted nice reclining seats. And the center console, that is out of an S10 Blazer because I do have a 700 R4 swapped in there, and I wanted the cup holders and the overdrive, although those cup holders aren't that good. I'm probably going to do something different. It used to have a vinyl top, and it used to be green. I think the trunk's empty. Let me grab a flathead and let's find out. Where are you? Aha! What's in here? I have... Alright, I've got a big Chevelle banner in there. I've got a whole bunch of extra taillight pieces. Looks like I got another dash I probably picked up at a swap meet somewhere. Kick panel, vent. What's this? Weather stripping for the window. Other than that, it looks all right. Green, favorite green. I've done a little bit of work to this thing over the years. This side more green, where the vinyl was. That I'm pretty sure was green. I seem to have some junk in here. And Holley Commander 950 system in there. I'm going to talk about more of that in a minute when we go under the hood. And the carpet's not in bad shape. It needs a bad cleaning. As like I said, most of life it spent its time in storage. And let's pop the hood and see what we got going on. In there we got one Chevy 350 small block, 4-bolt mains. Does have the camel hump heads on it, not the big valve, the small valve, 194 series. Competition single grime 268 cam, which is great for the street. HEI conversion, 700 R4 of course. And it does have the Holley fuel injection system on it that has lost its brains, I think. And so one of the things we're going to do here is swap it over to a Holley carburetor. It does have the Jeep Cherokee box conversion on it for the little tighter steering, and the front end is all rebuilt with stock type of springs. It's all rubber. Nothing fancy is going on there. And I did do a 71 disc brake conversion on it, so it should run and drive perfectly fine. And as you see, I saw in the video, we were able to get the fire, but I'm not getting any fuel pressure, and I'm not hearing the fuel pump really run. And I just don't want to mess with it. I don't think that is commanding, the brains is not commanding it to run. And so this is going to go off, go to a carburetor. So my plan is to change the oil, change the rims and tires to something that won't explode on me on the freeway, go back to the carburetor system with the fuel pump, and drive it 700 miles home. I've got 2 days to do it. See if I can get it done. So this is the old 4DI system, upgraded to the Commander 950. And I was a little worried about the 700 R4 linkage setup, but I had all the straight parts, and all these will cross right over to the carburetor, so it should be all right. I'm going to reuse a lot of this fuel line. It comes out of the factory spot. I'll go ahead and probably reuse a filter and get all this on, and got high hopes. So I brought everything. I've got block off plate, I got a fuel pump rod, I got a fuel pump, got one Holley 770 Avenger carburetor, aluminum setup. A little bit too big for the engine, but that's 900 CFM. It was way too big for the engines. I have no idea back when I did this 15 years ago what I really did. So I just brought everything, and that's the first thing I'm going to do is pull that off, put this on. The fuel pump is actually on the side of the frame, so I just should be able to bypass that, yank that stuff out, and see if I can get the fire on the carburetor. Let's see if this is going to work. Oh, no. Oh, no. Got a problem. Guys, this is wanting to hit the heater hose. Let's see if I can make it sit. That might be okay. Yeah, I think that will be all right. Okay, that clears. Other than that, I think we're good. This is for the choke. Fuel goes way up here, of course, but I think I'm going to be okay once I cinch everything down. Oop, 2. I rebuilt this engine so long ago. Some of you may remember the PAW catalogs, the Performance Automotive Warehouse, that went out of business in, I think, 2009, 2010. That's where this rebuild kit came from. I think they were the old Badger pistons, but I didn't get the cam through them. I went with competition cams. I know they think they used, they had a house cam setup, which is fine. I know they didn't grind their own. I'm going to have to bend that bracket a little bit for the 700 floor. Clean up some of this wiring, get it out of here. Hopefully decrease the chance of a huge fire later. So we'll get... So this carburetor I got on a trade deal from a friend. I've never run it. I hope it works. I took it apart and looked at it. Looked okay, but I'm going to have to definitely adjust the idle and probably definitely adjust the float levels once we get going. And obviously the idle mixture is going to do it. A lot of people are pretty good and can do it by ear. It's been a long time since I've done it by ear, so I'm not going to. I brought a vacuum gauge to make sure I get it right. And one byproduct of running the 4DI system is to tune it. I installed a standalone wideband O2 sensor and it has its own gauge in there, so I can actually kind of use that driving down the road, see how I am. I didn't bring any jets, so there's nothing I can do about it, but at least I have an idea where I'm going to be. And this is going to have to hook up to power. I'll probably just tap into here to the distributor because this is the choke. I get to that. I've got one point here for the vacuum. That's already done. So hook up the throttle linkage and start working on the fuel side, and somewhere in there I'm going to rip all that back to the firewall. You can tell I rebuilt this engine so long ago, this stuff was still cool. You know, you'd open the hood and this stuff that what is this? This is shiny stuff. It does not shiny anymore, and if you grab it wrong, it will go all the way to the bone. You know, it'll poke you to death. That will go away later. And if you notice, I don't have a shroud either. That's some stellar stuff there, but I do have a great fan. So it's cold enough here. It's in the 40s right now. I don't think that'll be a problem on the dry foam. Yeah. Perfect. And there's absolutely no fuel pump rod in there at all. I'm glad I bought one. This may not stick it up in there, but this shoves up in a little hole up in there somewhere, and so it goes up in there, rides on the camshaft, which I'll put it there so it can slide out later. If you run an electric fuel pump, you don't need that, but I'm going back to mechanical, an old school carburetor, because there's really absolutely no reason to run fuel injection in this car. Yeah, okay, yep. And yep, that didn't go well at all. Alright, that looks a little more promising. I can tell you from experience, if you forget the gasket behind this rear plate, it will pour oil badly. And I mean badly. I've done that before. It's not something you forget about. Okay, I just want to make sure those bolts are started so everything's in the right spot before you really reef on it. Which you don't want to do because you want to snap those bolts. That would be a showstopper. And cause me to go look for a car trailer, which I don't want to do. Alright, let's get that fuel pump on there. Now, the reason I couldn't use the electric fuel pump is because it wants, it's like 50 pounds, 48 pounds, something like that. And these carburetors need 5 to 7 pounds. You know, not much at all. So that's why I use this. I did go hunt up the adapter here. This is a straight, this isn't an NPT fitting. This is a 3/8 straight thread fitting, which I had to go to the auto parts store. The Ace Hardware didn't have it. I tried. I spent a long time there, and the parts store had it, you know, right there on the shelf, of course. And when you put it in there, it's a bit of a trick. You have to get it underneath that rod. And so you got to kind of shove that rod up, which it's not doing now. Come on, get up there. Okay, there we go. Nope, no, not going up there. Went up there just fine before. Nope. Nope. Okay, nope, nope. Okay. Now, where's the gasket? Not a problem. All right. Fuel pump's on. That took way too long. So now I'm going to run the line from here to here. You know, fancy, you have a nice metal line that tucks up behind the alternator. We're not doing that. I'm going to take a wild guess at the one with the fuel filter on it as it goes in the line. So I'm going to clip that, shove it on there, and hope for the best. Yo, come on. Blech. Of course. Well, we're all hooked up. I'm going to pour hopefully just a little bit of gas down the carb. Maybe I'll jam that choke open as well and see if we can get the fire over. Oh, yeah. I went, oh, okay. Well, no gas in the carb yet. Oh, it's got some pumpage action though. That's a good sign. I heard the accelerator pump squirt a little gas in there, so let's see. Ooh, it's running. Good sign. It runs. It's leaking fuel out the top. The float's too high. It needs to be adjusted, and it starts super weak. I think there's something up with the timing. We'll go after that next. But really good sign. Looking good. Oh. Leaking fuel. Leaking fuel out the fuel pump connection, so I'll have to reef that a little bit tighter. All right. This thing's still leaking a little bit, so I'm going to crank on it just a hair bit. That'll help. Should. And then I got to hook up this power wire to constant power because that's the choke. If I don't, it'll take a long time for it to come off, and I do want the choke to work. This will be pretty hokey, but I don't want it to be stuck on the high idle. I got to warm it up, get it off the high idle, and then I can set the idle mixture and the final idle. But things are looking good. Yeah. I'm never using this again. So sorry, not sorry. This is old school stuff. It was great in its day, but it's not even worth it now. I even have my old Dell laptop because it still had an RS-232 port on the back to run it. It's just not worth the effort. This, however, is the O2 sensor, and I'm definitely leaving that hooked up. It's a standalone system. I'll just have to cut the wires because it also went into here, and it made tuning it a lot nicer. And then I got I have no idea where all this stuff went. And I got a slight smell of electrical burning, you know, kind of. Actually, oh, it's out of here. Maybe that's why we couldn't get to start earlier. Yeah, this may have let the smoke out. You know, the magic smoke that makes it run. Once it goes out, you're done. Hokey shit. So I'm going to change the oil. The weather's starting to look kind of poopy, so I'm going to get that done, and then I think we're going to drive to a parts store. It's low on water and it needs gas. Both things I can get there, no issues. And keep going from there. So the gas gauge doesn't work. The speedometer doesn't work, the tachometer doesn't work, but the oil pressure is good and it was getting a little warm. So I couldn't find any water, radiator's low though, so I'm gonna cool off a little bit while I wash it. Then I'm gonna try to shoot some water into it here. So I need some water. I'm at a car wash, so I can probably figure this one out. I'm gonna be real careful. I don't have an air cleaner or anything going on yet, but said it was pretty warm, but I think part of the problem was low. So let's try not to shoot this up my arm, and it seems to be okay. I'll top this off. Probably not the best idea, but at least water. Of course. Well, we got out of the car wash and we got back up to the hotel. Then it rained. Then we went and got something to eat. Then we went and had drinks. And then took a shower. But at the parts store, there's a couple things we couldn't do. I needed to get a PVC hose, and I want to get the air cleaner on it. I got to set the TV cable. And what else do we get? Oh, got a gas cap that might actually fit. And I should get the air cleaner on. And plug up a vacuum leak a little bit better than I got it plugged now. So let's get the rest of this done, and this will be a little bit easier for the morning. Oh, also, we drove it from the car wash to here. I took it up on the freeway. I didn't have the camera on for that. but it was at 190 degrees, cruised along real easy, drove real nice, a little loose, probably steering box out of adjustment, but not bad. I think once you get rolling, barring any catastrophes, it'll be a nice trip. So this does have a 700 R4, and so you have to adjust the TV cable. And since all this changed, if you don't do this, you will burn up your transmission. So you do that by shoving your finger in there, putting the oh, that's not in there very good. You release it, you shove it all the way back, and then you floor it, and it will self-adjust and pull itself out a little bit. If you notice, that didn't do much, so we're going to call that good. I'll try it one more time. Just want to make sure it's buried. You don't want to shove it out like that. And you want to make sure it's adjusted out, and it looks like it's going to be okay. So we're going to call that good, and hope we don't destroy the transmission. Next thing I want to do is to plug one of the vacuum leaks. I left the map sensor on for the old system because I didn't have anything. That's lame, so I'll take that off. Plug it with one of these ends. Get in there as best I can, which I just did. Okay, we're going to call that good. Now it's time for the PVC hose. It probably would have been fine without it because it is vented, but I'd just rather have some negative pressure on it. And voila. I have no idea. I'm probably going to have to chop this. That's going to go in here and go back. Actually, that might be just fine. So let's get this. This just goes to manifold vacuum, and what that does is it helps get your exhaust gases out. So it sucks it in through the vent here, out through the hose, and down the hatch. Just like that. Shove it on there. And into there, and that's about the perfect fit. Okay. Done. Maybe I can get this open without cutting off my jugular or something. Jeez. You can see this is kind of old school. I got the empty valve covers. The old Edelbrock intake that's been spray painted a bunch. I like the way it looks. That looks pretty good. Like that. And we're going to see if any of these are going to work. All right, let's test fit that. Aha. Aha. That will do it. All right. Now I shot a bunch of water there in the car wash, so it went overheat on the way up to the hotel, and then I picked up this at the parts store just to top it off. Instead of, car wash water with soap and stuff in there. On. Boy, what a beautiful day for a drive. A cloud in the sky. Well, the weather from yesterday all cleared up. I think the car's ready. It's still there, nobody took it. And we're going to hit the road today. We're going to try to put down some serious miles. We have about 700 miles to go, and hopefully it goes well.
what is in your hand. I ain't to be a slave, the same as me. Goodbye, my friend, I'm following my way. I can't stand to watch your hand. Shorty, I'm here, I'll see you someday. This world is for friendship to stay. I can see my fate, the crawls hitting my body. Tell my mama I'm sorry, and tell the father I need a friend.
We made it to Twin Falls, Idaho. It was about a 110-mile drive. It went just fine. With the overdrive in this car, we were doing 80 miles an hour the whole way, which is the speed limit down here. I just checked the oil, didn't use a drop, all was good. I did have to adjust the oil down a little bit, but we're gonna head closer to Boise. Keep on trucking.
No one really knows the way I could to be here. You know, his pain will not easily disappear. But there is nothing to say or do when you're traveling alone. I can only look to the sky and I just see light. That railroad moon, I feel this grief, it simply won't go away. She said goodbye and left me with the unpaid bill. And there is nothing to say or do when you're left all alone. You can only look to the sky and see in the light. That railroad moon. I feel this grief, it really won't go away. She said goodbye and left me with the unpaid bill.
Well, we made it to Mountain Home, Idaho. The car is running great. I've been doing about 80 miles an hour the whole way. I'm getting just under 14 miles to the gallon. Third gear, the transmission's a little iffy, but fourth gear is solid. It might still be the TV cable needs a little more adjustment. I'm not going to mess with it because we're just cruising. But I am looking at this fuel line here. It's working, but it looks like it could come over and hit that. So I'm just going to do kind of a half zip tie up over here. Maybe keep that up, but it's not heating up. Pulling the passes around Glens Ferry, Idaho. It didn't even hit 200 degrees, and you can tell. It's just not hot. So we're going to keep on going and go find some lunch. Well, we made it to Nampa just fine. No issues at all, but we do have one problem. Is the transmission does not like third gear. First, second's good. Overdrive is good. Third gear is a big no. And I did get my tach fixed on the last stop. And so when I'm doing 80, I'm doing about 2,200 RPM. But when I came through Boise area and had to slow down to 65, it was 1,800, and you're just too far below the power curve of the competition cam that's in this thing. And so I've got to get third gear going, and it's just too floaty, and I think it's the TV cable adjustment. So let's pop the hood and take a look. And this is it right here. So I alluded to this before. This is a Holley bracket, and this is a Holley bracket. And this is your, this is more than just a kick down for the 700 R4. This actually tells you what the line pressures are, shift points for all your gears. And if you don't have this right, you can actually burn up the transmission. And so there's this little pokey thing that comes out like that. And so how you adjust it is you don't do that. You push in on this tab. Oh shoot, maybe that's part of my problem. Anyway, you're supposed to be able to squeeze this and shove that in, and then you floor it, and it pulls this out and self-adjusts. And I think I don't have enough space between here and here to get any self-adjustment. So I got that part all the way in, and then do this, and it naturally pulls itself out to adjustment, but it's not doing that. So I don't think I've got enough here. Oops, I don't want that much. And so I'm going to try it here. Oh, see how it clicked out a little bit? So I'm thinking that's it. So I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. I just bent this back a little bit more. I'm going to hope that that does it and gets me my third gear. So I got a little bit of adjustment out of it. It wasn't much. And I think what happened was I wasn't pushing this hard enough before, because when you went all the way, it popped it out just a little bit. That first second was good. Overdrive was good. And now I'm hoping third is good. So I'm going to button her back up and we're going to hit the road. We're going to try to make it to Pendleton, Oregon today. And I don't see why we can't do that. Things are going great. And then the gorge tomorrow. Well, the adjustment wasn't it. And so we pulled over at a gas station, and probably should have done what I did. Should have done this yesterday, but we're low on transmission fluid. So I bought 3 quarts of $10 transmission fluid. I'm going to pour in. It doesn't even show up on the dipstick, so I guess that'd do it. So we're going to put in a couple quarts, see what happens. So I didn't bring any transmission fluid, and I didn't check it, but I was smart enough to bring the funnel. So we'll dump in, I don't know, what do you think? It would slip 2 quarts? 1? I don't know. We'll go with 1 and see what happens. Maybe 2. At least 1.
I told you right now that I never look behind, I'd be lying just to keep following ahead. And I know you won't regret what you done and make fun of the love that I had. If I never proceed and do what I done, I would keep on just making believe. And now I look to the past, I still dying in my arms, and there is nothing to do, apologize. The 3 shots that I gave you were kept in my mind, and the shirt also felt in my heart. And I know you won't regret what you done and make fun of the love that I had. If I never proceed and do what I done, I would keep on just making the lead.
bad stuff just happened. So I was coming up the passes out of La Grande, headed west, and I lost overdrive. It just barely tries to grab. I don't have third gear. I just have first gear and second gear. I'm near the top of the pass that takes you down into Pendleton. I think I'm going to try to baby it there and get it into Pendleton and try to figure out what's going to go on, what I'm going to have to do. Maybe I can adjust something. Maybe I can pour some transmission restorer in it. The transmission's toast, and I got to decide if I can keep on going, if I'm going to have to find a car trailer.
Now locked in this prison, it's so hard to regret and forget all the things you did to me. 30 years in jail won't be enough to repent or relieve all these demons in my mind. And I know you won't regret.
Well, we did make it to Pendleton. I came down the hill coasting. There's a huge Deadman's Pass. Some people call it Cabbage Hill. Made it down that, drove the rest 6 or 7 miles here into Pendleton and revving it out in second gear and coasting. And looking into it, and I did some research. And when I say research, I mean going on Google. I lost a 3/4 clutch pack, which makes sense to me. And a bad TV adjusted cable can do that. I don't know if I did that wrong. It's possible. I'm pretty sure I got it right. It could have been going bad when I got it. It could have been a combination. Who knows? And so we did make it about 450 miles, but we're not giving up yet. I've always wondered if this fix-it stop leak stuff works. Maybe if I poured it in earlier, it would have done a good job, but we're going to try to dump it in this morning. And if I start getting an overdrive gear back, we'll give it a shot. If not, we'll do something else. So you have to have the car running. So I'll go ahead and fire it up, dump this stuff in, and see what happens. Three, 4, 5. Takes about 6 times. No. 7, 8, 9 times. Oh boy, that is some funny looking stuff. I may grow to regret that decision. It looks like it has seized entirely in the funnel. Very slowly going in. We'll dump some more. I don't know if you can see it in there on the camera, but it's just sitting there. It looks like I'm pouring thick honey. Jeez. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call that good. I didn't get it all in there. It's either going to work or it's not. So take it for a spin, find out. The Lucas oil didn't work. I had to run all the way up to Walla Walla, Washington. Apparently these things are made of gold right now. But I got one. This got loaded up. We still have 250 miles to go. So I really wanted to get this to drive all the way home. It was 700 miles. We did make 450 miles. So maybe I should call the video, will this Chevelle run and drive 450 miles? Big win. But reality, no. I even looked at maybe taking the back roads and just keeping it second, because I could still do 55. And I thought, we're just starting to get a little ridiculous now. So maybe the next video will be how to drop your transmission in your garage. Nope. But seriously, we're going to hit the road and get home, and you will be definitely seeing more of this car in the future. Hope you enjoyed this video.